Well, good evening, fastball fans, and welcome back to the Kelowna May Days, the 2026 edition. The nightcap here on Friday night. It's the Sooke Loggers from across the island in Vancouver Island, and the Sasketton Jacks about to make their appearance at the plate. Leading off for the Sasketton Jacks, it'll be Max Major. He'll be followed by Ryan Bicknell, Matt Kutnikoff, Troy Kuzminka, Oakley Durham, Nick Moore, Kalen Robinson, Brant Weeb in the 8th spot, and Will Major batting 9th for the Jacks. Defensively for the Sooke Loggers, there you see it left to right across the outfield. Ben Edgington, Chris Walushka, Logan Newmans in right. Dean Leyland, Gus Wilson, Ian Creemore, Corey Jones around the horn. Scott Life, the veteran hard-throwing righty. Brian Avery is behind the plate. Keep an eye on the shortstop, Gus Wilson. This guy is relatively new to fastball, coming over from baseball. Defensive wizard. He's learning how to hit at this level. This guy is somebody to keep an eye on for the future. Blair Sedford joined in the booth by my longtime friend, and we're reconnecting. Here we are 11 years later. Adam Donnelly from just up the road in Kamloops, and we're underway as Scott Life pours in a strike to leading off for the Saskatoon Jacks. It's Max Major, fresh off appearing with the Canadian U23 squad down at the World Cup. Max Major. And Adam, welcome to the booth. It's been a long time since we've had the opportunity to reconnect, but you get to see a lot of these West Coast teams on a fairly regular basis over the years, and some familiar players here, but also some new ones as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to see this Saskatoon Jacks team. They were in Kamloops for the STK Invitational a couple years back. Good young squad, scrappy, aggressive on the base paths from what I remember. And then you got the Sooke Loggers who, the island just continues to be that mecca of softball in BC. Scott Life, Brian Avery, and like you mentioned, some new faces.
Yeah, it's good to see both of these teams have had success at the Canadian Nationals over the years. Saskatoon Jacks, the silver medalists at last year's Canadian National Championship in Kitchener. Of course, to win the Canadian Nationals, you've got to go through the Galway Hitmen, and that is a tall order at the best of times. The Jacks thought they had it. They were very close last year, but just couldn't quite get the deal done. They'll be back this year. They're also going to be playing at the ISC World Tournament in Melbourne, Ontario. We'll talk lots about the ISC World Tournament over the course of the evening, over the course of the weekend.
Of course, this is a qualifying tournament as well, right?
This is indeed a qualifier for the 2026 ISC World Tournament, the 80th anniversary. So we're really excited about that as well, and we'll talk about some of the things that are being planned and are already underway as teams and players and pitchers of decades are being voted on by the fans, and some great choices. And you'll see some of the 2000s announcements this weekend. Ball 4 to Major, works a walk. He had 4 walks at the U23 World Cup. He was 5 for 12 there, 417. Was Max. Now, a lot of those hits did come early in the week, and did some catching, did Max Major, played some infield, but it was a bit of a rough week for Canada overall, finishing 8th at the U23 World Cup. Did not make the super round. Squaring to bunt here is Ryan Bicknell.
Looked like some pretty good competition down there in Columbia. You were there, obviously. Must have been a heck of a tournament.
It was, and I think the game, it's safe to say the game is in good hands with a lot of these young superstars coming through. Jack Besgrove, of course, already probably the best pitcher in the world. Swing and a miss here. On the move is Major, and he slides in safely with the uncontested stolen base. So Saskatoon Jacks early with some pressure and a runner into scoring position.
Yeah, there's that aggressiveness on the base paths as Major takes that on. No slouch behind the dish. Brian Avery there, obviously Team Canada alumni.
Avery amongst many to step down from Team Canada. We're back to that 4-year cycle When you and I first met, they were in the midst of those 2-year cycles. As this is a little dribbler up towards first, Corey Jones, who's been a veteran of Team Canada, he makes the play over there to tag out Ryan Bicknell. And as much as a bunt as anything else there for Bicknell, advancing Max Major up to third.
We're still looking at our first run of the tournament after that 7-inning gem we just saw.
I don't think anybody had a scoreless draw between the Hill United Chiefs and the Kelowna Titans on their bingo card. Great pickup there by Brian Avery. And he is such a Swiss Army knife, Avery, behind the plate here tonight. Can play corner infield, corner outfield. Always a tremendous athlete.
He's pretty good with the stick too, isn't he?
He can hit just a little bit.
A lot of these guys for Sooke I know are on the SDK roster for, I believe that's an ISC roster. They're going to get underway here later. They have a tournament in Kamloops a couple weeks' time. Should be another good one. I think Grand Prairie's going to be there. My club team from back home got the invite this year, so that should be good.
Great to see. Look forward to a lot of guys getting the ISC bug when it was out here at Softball City a couple of years ago. And they got a taste of it and can't wait to get back to it. In for a strike from Scott Life. Matthew Kutnikoff is at the plate, designated player for the Jacks. He was on the inaugural Canada U23 squad that went down to Paraná in Argentina a couple of years back, 23. Hot shot down to third and looks back the runner. A real good play there defensively by Dean Leyland for the Sooke Loggers.
Yeah, real good fundamentals. Looking that runner back, had to freeze Major over there and made a good strong throw across.
Troy Kuzminka. It's funny, he's listed as the pitcher in the lineup card that we got, but it's going to be Devin McCullough, who curiously was shown in left field. Either that or somebody really needs a handwriting course.
That's one of my favorite things about this sport is just the different combinations using that designated player, the flex. It's pretty incredible to see how you can utilize a guy, bring him out, bring him back in, and just rotate through with all of those kind of lineup rules.
This misses downstairs to Kuzminka.
A good time to give a shout out to the grounds crew. The Coons family really takes great care of this Park King Stadium here in Kelowna.
It's in immaculate shape. I was out on the field a little bit earlier prior to the Chiefs game, and the infield, boy, you could have a course in how to keep the infield here.
August 27th at YK.
Well, we'll go to the bottom of the first inning, and leading off for the Sooke Loggers, it'll be Logan Newman. He'll be followed by Gus Wilson. A couple of prospects here at the top of the shop for the Sooke Loggers. Brian Avery bats third, Corey Jones, then Kyle Cowick, the veteran for Sooke. Ben Edgington, Chris Walushka, another veteran, still going strong. He's in center field. Dean Leyland and Ian Creemore in the 9 spot for Sooke. Defensively for the Saskatoon Jacks, out and left, it'll be Troy Kozminka. In center field, it's Kalen Robinson. Out and right is Ryan Bicknell. And then around the horn on the infield, Max Major. Then Brent Wiebe is at shortstop. At second base for the Saskatoon Jacks, it's Will Major. Over at first is Nick Moore, the Ontario transplant. And on the board, very familiar face, Devin McCullough, and behind the plate is Oakley Durham for Saskatoon. But that's actually Nick Moore behind the plate. So some more fun and games on the Saskatoon Jacks lineup card, Adam. I was a little surprised that they would have had Nick Moore at first base. He's primarily been a catcher his entire career. So Moore behind the plate, and I'm going to assume that that's Oakley Durham out at first. That is not either. That's Troy Kozminka. Hard shot off the bat of Logan Newman. He's got speed. He's going to burn up to second. The ball's bobbled out in the outfield, and blazing into third base goes Logan Newman. My goodness, can this guy run?
He absolutely tattooed that ball by the shortstop, and I knew he was going 2 right away, but to get to third, that little bobble just made all the difference. He was able to slide in safely with a leadoff triple, or double with an error, I guess.
I'm probably going to go double with an error, but boy, the way that guy runs, that could have been easily a triple. So Sooke Loggers threatening very early here in the bottom of the first inning. Gus Wilson. I was talking to Doug Roberts prior to the Chiefs-Titans game. And Doug Roberts, for those of you who know Doug, he is an absolute encyclopedia of softball information. And talking to me about Gus Wilson, he's only played 23, 25 softball games in his whole life. But this kid is a prospect. He's come over from baseball. He's figuring out how to hit fastball pitching. He's a phenomenal defender already. At shortstop, keep an eye on this guy this weekend.
I mean, that's the thing. Baseball players take so many reps. They get so good defensively. If you can get rid of that ball in a hurry, then you're going to be able to transition on the defensive side of the ball. It's that offensive side that's going to be the question. He doesn't look out of place up there. You can see him choked up on the bat. He's ready. I mean, McCullough, I believe it was 2015 in Saskatoon when he came in and slammed the door on New Zealand. I always think of Stephen Mullally, 3 home run performance, Reggie Jackson-esque in that final. I was working a camera for that one. That was a fun game.
Peter Labardius, whose place I'm taking here this weekend for the Hill United Chiefs, Peter talks about that as one of the greatest Canadian sports events ever. Off the glove of McCullough over to the shortstop for Sooke, but he can't make the throw because Wilson runs very well. Brent Wiebe, who is no slouch at shortstop at all, but unable to advance home. Logan Newman wisely, I think, ended up staying at third because that ball just to his left, you don't want to get hung up in no man's land there.
I was wondering when it hit off McCullough's glove there if he was going to have a chance, but like you said, probably a wise move to stay there. Give the Meteor order here a chance to drive you in with Brian Avery at bat.
Well, with Brian Avery in particular, I mean, this guy has seen it all, done it all in the game over the years. He was a part of that 2015 team that you were mentioning, a mainstay on Team Canada, on the New York, now Bear Creek Gremlins. And very quickly here, we got to visit out to the mound by the Jacks head coach. And
I wonder if that's just to get on the same page. Runners on first and third here, nobody gone. Just want to make sure that you know where you're going with that ball and you don't want to make a mistake. Don't want to get some signals crossed and throw a ball into the outfield and then have a run score.
And let's remember, it's early for everybody here. Now, there's some advantages, a couple of the Mexican players and the Argentina players on the Hill United Chiefs who have come in, and they're in, let's call it, mid-season form. Some of the kids, the U23 players, have just come off that big tournament. But for guys like Avery and McCullough and others, other than throwing in the gym and working in their off-season routine, this is their first game action in quite a while.
Yeah, I know in the interior here, leagues will have just started probably the beginning of May, so we're 2 or 3 weeks in there. It's a good chance to see a little action as that one's lifted.
Way up on the infield, and coming across to make the grab is the second baseman. That is one of the majors. That's Will Major making the grab there. So that mile-high pop-up doesn't allow Gus Wilson any opportunity to advance, or Logan Newman over at third. And that'll bring us to Corey Jones. McCullough goes to 2, picked up adeptly over there, back to first, but just making it down to the bag is Corey Jones by a quarter step. Aggressive there by McCullough to try and get 2.
Yeah, I guess he could have come home, but, you know, double play ends the inning. Took a bit of a chance, but it's just one. Our first run of the weekend.
So the fielder's choice, Corey Jones, ons up on first. Logan Newman crosses the plate. And that'll get us to Kyle Cowick. Kyle, another veteran here from the Vancouver area. Is he on the island or is he just in Vancouver? I think he's just in Vancouver.
I think he's just in Vancouver.
Yeah. But he's been a longtime member of this Sooke Loggers squad. This team's been around for, I want to say, a dozen years at least. And primarily have competed at the Canadian Championships. They did come to the ISC a couple of times.
Just Sooke has always just been one of those communities. Again, the name the Loggers kind of. I always equate softball in BC, fast pitch softball, being kind of a logger sport. I grew up in a forestry town, and every May long we would have a huge tournament. So it just feels right to be at the ballpark this weekend.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's the great changeup, the infamous changeup that Devin McCullough will throw early, often in counts to batters. He will double it up from time to time. Comes with the high, hard stuff here. Sits down Kyle Cowick.
Well, that's another weapon he has, too, is that rise ball. And I remember in 2015, some of those shots from center field, he would almost be, I want to say 45 degrees or more when he releases that ball. The angle of his body, it's just incredible to see how he gets under and spins it.
Yeah, the torque from Devin McCullough. The Loggers score 1 in the bottom half. They take an early 1-0 lead over the Saskatoon Jacks. Just getting underway here in the nightcap. For the Jacks here in the top of the second inning, it's Oakley Durham, Nick Moore, Kalen Robinson. Swing and a miss here of the hard-throwing righty Scott Life. Scott was with STK at last year's World Tournament. Picked up a win, 15 Ks in 14 innings pitched. Jorge Segura and Scott Life did a tremendous job with STK, getting them to a Final Four finish. The surprise, I would say, of last year's ISC World Tournament was that top four outing, and real nice to see it. A great group of guys. One, Jose Pepe from Argentina, was also on the staff for STK, and the three of them really did a great job.
We saw one Jose Pepe in our league. Suffice to say,
he brings it.
We didn't have a ton of success on him last year. Last year was his second year in Kamloops. He was there with a number of other Argentinian players and really brought up the level of play in the league. Of course, Benny Anthony doing a great job with that STK team. Another guy I can think of is that Choco Munoz had an incredible tournament at the plate.
Yeah, 15 RBIs, threatening the record. Down on strikes here goes Oakley Durham. That'll bring up Nick Moore, catcher for the Saskatoon Jacks. Moore spent the last couple of seasons with the watered-down Hammer. As I mentioned, has always been a catcher by trade. Life took a little something off of that one on the outside corner.
Just a little change of pace seemed to freeze Moore at the plate there.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Nick Moore. 3 up, 3 down, at least in pitches for Moore, and third straight strikeout here for Scott Life.
Yeah, he seems to be settling in here. It's not the warmest. I think I saw about 9 degrees on my way in, and it's just going to get a little cooler, so wonder if that grip's going to be an issue. That one's hammered out to right.
Off the wall, and speeding up into second base goes Kalen Robinson. Got all of that one.
It's not the deepest park here, 237 all the way around, but that fence makes it play a little bit longer. That one just falling over the right fielder and in there for a double. So a little something cooking here with 2 out for the Jacks.
Brant Weeb to the plate. Yeah, 237 all the way around. And this one, well hit, deep center field, gone! Brant Weeb straight away center, and the Jacks answer right back here with a 2-run pop in the top of the second.
Yeah, there's that high fence coming into it. Is that one absolutely tattooed? That ball looked a little bit up, and he got a good piece of that to straight away. I guess it was a little bit to right center, but 2-1 game all of a sudden.
One swing of the bat, and the 8-batter, Brant Weeb, second-generation player. And I was just about to say, Adam, as that one is down to Leyland, but that's a dead ball foul off the foot of Will Major. The padded fence, the green part of the fence is, yes, 237. Or did it go off his foot? Now they're saying that was not a dead ball. It was an out.
A little discussion there between
I thought they called it a dead ball.
Yeah. Well, just the way the batter reacted, I mean, that's always kind of how I'm going to judge it. If he stops running, but that discussion seems to be final as he's been called out.
So ground ball 5-3 to end the inning. We'll come back and we'll pick up the talk about the fence and everything else, but we'll go to the home half. The Jacks now up 2-1. Ben Edgington, Chris Walushka, and Dean Leland will try to answer back for the Sooke Loggers here in the bottom of the second inning. We were talking about the fences, Adam, and there is the green padded fence all the way around. But then on top of that is another 6-foot frost fence. So it's really more like a 15, 18-foot fence.
Yeah, we just heard from Dave Arthurs, who very familiar with this park. He said about $257 to get it out of here. So pretty standard, I'd say.
Yeah, well, it was all of that and more off the bat of Brant Weeb getting it out of here for the game and the tournament's first home run. McCullough pours in strike one to Ben Edgington. McCullough thought about it, let it go, and did he stay on the bag? He did. Kozminka stays on the bag just long enough to get Ben Edgington. Gus Wilson pulled him off the bag just a little bit with the throw.
Yeah, you see that foot kicking up off the bag, probably a little bit slick there. I think there was a little bit of rain here earlier.
Yeah, just we had rain for 5 outs early in the prior game. So Chris Walushka, since we're talking 2015, a member of that 2015 squad, Chris Walushka. That one fouled back to the screen.
I think the first year that STK had their tournament in Kamloops, the Sooke Loggers had, I think their first 5 batters were all Team Canada, probably about 3 different Team Canada shortstops in there. As they had Kevin Schellenberg, Brian Avery, Derek Mason was on that team. It was a pretty impressive lineup that they brought.
That was a very good squad indeed, yeah. And that one, well, lost the grip, did Devin McCullough. It happens sometimes. Watch this. Oops.
Got to go back to that gorilla grip in his back pocket there.
He's killing himself laughing about it right now. He's hearing about it from his infield. There's the changeup. That one skips in to Moore. And this would be a new experience because Nick Moore and Devin McCullough, to the best of my knowledge, and it's fairly extensive, but it's not as thorough as Doug Roberts. He probably would be able to tell you, but I'm just about 100% sure this would be the first time these two have worked together.
Doug would definitely be able to tell you. You might not be able to make it back in the booth because Doug uses that extensive knowledge. He's willing to share, which I love.
Yeah. Doug and I had a short 30-minute conversation prior to the Hill United game. I said hi and then proceeded to listen for 29 minutes and 58 seconds.
That sounds about right.
And it was, that was one of the most enjoyable half-hour conversations I will have this weekend. It was fabulous to catch up with Doug. Told me all about his New Zealand trip, how he saw 121 games in New Zealand, half a dozen of their major tournaments down there, and the people that Doug gets to meet and have lunch with, dinner with, beers with. Who's who of New Zealand softball. Had lunch with Mark Sorensen, like the best player of the 1990s, Mark Sorensen.
Yeah, former manager for the Black Sox,
Former manager for the Black Sox. Dean Leyland at the plate for the Sooke Loggers. Little low rise, gets it past Dean Leyland. Pair of strikeouts for Devin McCullough. His Saskatoon Jacks will take a 2-1 lead through 2 complete. And we'll go back to the top of the shop for the Jacks as we'll head to the top of the third coming up. So we're back to the top of the shop for the Saskatoon Jacks. Max Major walked, got as far as third in the first. Chops this one down to second, in and out of the glove of Ian Creemore. But he's able to stick with it.
Yeah, just a slight bobble over there, but the way Major runs, he made it real close. Corey Jones there getting the out.
And one pitch and diving past the diving shortstop. Can't come up with it. Gus Wilson. I think if you're getting it by Gus Wilson, you've probably accomplished something too. But aboard with a solid single is Ryan Bicknell. Last year's Kevin Herlihy, Newcomer of the Year award recipient in the ISC.
And if you're having success at that level, you're going to be a threat. And again, let's see if this Jacks team puts their runner in motion here.
Well, Bicknell runs well, but Brian Avery has got a good, strong arm behind the plate. On the move, throw down, it's on the other side of the bag and sliding in safely with the stolen base is Ryan Bicknell.
Discussion between the home plate umpire and the third base coach for the Jacks. Not sure what that was about.
Maybe
like,
just checking on the count.
Looks like they've called Bicknell out. He's not out there.
Yeah, was it a leadoff? Did he get called out? He must have got called out for leadoff then.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
I didn't hear it, but obviously we didn't pick up on that, and clearly that's what the third base coach was down to discuss.
Just looking at a little bit of that data we have on the flight scope over here. Pretty impressive technology from Softball Premier TV.
It is something, isn't it?
Got speed. Speed, spin rate, break. That one missed down and away.
Yeah, just able to foul that off. Good job there by Kutnikoff. Grounded out back in the first.
From our vantage point, too, we're right kind of behind home plate, just a little off to one side. You can really see that drop ball of Life's breaking. Well, I see all the pitches really breaking.
It was a high drop from Life outside the zone. He's always had really good movement on his pitches.
I got to see him for the first time last year at that STK tournament as he was playing for them. And I know he had been away for a little while, but he settled in, played an exhibition game against that U23 team, Canada, coached by Doug Allen. And that was a fantastic game. Probably the best crowd we've had in Kamloops in a long time.
Well, and you guys have got such a great park up there, too. One of the best views. I mean, this was spectacular, but you've got the mountains up there in Kamloops to look out on as Kutnikoff works this two-out walk. And just confirmation, yes, it was a leadoff on Ryan Bicknell. Kuzminka swings through.
He's not getting cheated up there. That was a pretty healthy cut.
Little foul tip in and out of the glove of Abry. So 0-2 to Kuzminka. Life trying to work around this 2-0 walk. And does just that with an outside rise ball that Troy Kuzminka down on strikes for the second time tonight. We'll go to home half of the third inning here. The Sooke Loggers trailing 2-1, looking to tie things back up with the Saskatoon Jacks. It'll be 9-1-2 for the Sooke Loggers. Ian Creemore, Logan Newman, and Gus Wilson for the team from the island. And speaking of the island, hearing from Derek Mason. And hello, Derek, to you. Kyle Cowick, an original Sooke Logger. Adam, he's now in Victoria, so we were close. Chopper on the infield, and up and over with it is Brant Weeb. And a couple of good young shortstop prospects here in this one between Weeb and Wilson.
Now batting number 13, Logan Newman.
So back top of the shop, Logan Newman, we ended up scoring it as a double and an error to advance to third, but boy, this guy's a speed demon.
Oh, man, he was flying. And again, bit of an ambush because I think that was the first pitch of the inning. He just tattooed it between the pitcher and the shortstop. A little liner out to the grass.
Change up, but in for a ball. 55 miles an hour. That is dialing it down. When you throw high 70s into the low 80s like Devin McCullough does, and you're dialing it down by 25, almost 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's not fair. Just the way all these guys can make the ball break. You know, they can spin it up, they can spin it up and out, and it's like I said before, we have such a great vantage point here to see how much that ball moves.
Yeah, that rise ball there just climbing the ladder from Devin McCullough, the upward trajectory the entire way, and then just that extra little bit of lift.
I had a sports science professor at university who suggested that rise balls don't really rise. And I'd like to see him taking a bat against these guys because those things are moving up.
Logan Newman down on strikes.
Now batting number 27, Gus Wilson.
So Gus Wilson. Can't hold back on the rise ball here. Wilson, I have it as an infield single, Adam. Not sure how you saw it, but I had it as the infield single off the glove of McCullough, and then Weeb couldn't do anything with it.
My notes are lacking, so I'm going to go with your scoring there. But yeah, just touched it. McCullough nicked it to the shortstop, and Wilson's so fast. He beat it out pretty handily.
Can't catch up to the drop ball in the outside corner from Devin McCullough. Touches in at 75, and here's the pitch tracker here. This pitch dropping into the zone. 1,300, almost 1,400 spin rate.
And that ball looks like a strike probably till about 5 feet out and then just falls right off the table. Big spot here, too, is I'm sure McCullough would rather face Avery at the top of the next inning with nobody on as opposed to one on here.
Well, that one is blasted out to the gap. It one hops the wall. Wilson is going to turn on the Jets and mosey up to second base with a stand-up double. And he is going to have to face Brian Avery with a runner in scoring position with 2 down.
Still pretty early. You do have a base open here, but I would expect at this point in the game, McCullough's still going to challenge Avery.
Oh, yeah. In May, they're going right after each other. I mean, everybody has got, pride in what happens here, but it's May. It's not August. You might pitch around Brian Avery in August. Not here tonight. Right in with strike 1. I'll guarantee you that thought never even entered the mind of Devin McCullough. And these two, listen, there's no secrets here. Avery has caught and faced Devin McCullough, whatever big number you can think of in their career over the years. Teammates, friends, they've seen each other in this type of situation many, many times over the years.
At this level, too, I mean, you're going to see them, like you said, time after time. And I'm sure, McCullough's probably won some. Avery's probably had some results. It's just what you can pull out of that bag of tricks on any given night, I guess.
Yeah, what are you going to do here that maybe Brian isn't expecting? Do you come with the changeup in a different count? Comes after him here, but that's in and out of the glove of Moore, but Wilson can't get past second base. And again, these two working together for what we believe is the first time, so they're going to have to get used to each other.
You see him running through the sequence there. Just keeping an eye on that runner at second. Oh, and that's a sharp single up the middle.
Yeah, right back up the middle off the bat of Brian Avery. We got ourselves a tie ball game as Gus Wilson comes around to tie things up at 2. Nice hard hit, sharp single off the bat of Brian Avery.
2-out catcher rule. Get a runner in for Avery. That's a nice trade.
Yeah, Gus Wilson back out to run, catches his breath, and then goes to run for Brian Avery. And advantage Sooke 100% on that one, my friend. You are absolutely right. I guess I have to call Corey Jones a veteran now. I remember when Corey Jones came up with the Lloydminster Dodgers many years ago. I want to say 2009. I think he was 17.
2009. I mean, in my head, that doesn't seem like a long time ago, but here we are in 2026.
I know. On the move, and Moore lost the handle as leadoff again. Banged out, so even up the count on that one on a side apiece, calling out for leadoffs. Wilson here gets called out on leadoffs, and that'll be the end of the inning. Corey Jones will come back up, but a hard hit single by Brian Avery cashes a double from Gus Wilson, and we're knotted at 2 here in downtown Kelowna, British Columbia. It's the May Days tournament. Hopefully everybody's got their clothes on in that condo as we zoom in. So new pitcher for the Sooke Loggers as we go to the fourth inning. Steve Norman on in relief for Sooke. Another hard-throwing righty from Western Canada. Steve grew up in Irma. Dad Lyle played for a long time in the Western Canadian ranks. Coached the Irma Tigers to an ISC 2 championship back in 2018. Steve's with the Toronto Batmen this year as they have completely overhauled their pitching staff, and they are going to be very good this year with Lamont Godoy and Steve Norman.
That's a nice little 1-2 punch there.
That is a real good 1-2 combo, and we'll see Toronto Batmen in action at the Canada East qualifier in Mitchell. Softball Premier will be on hand. We'll bring you all of the games on Diamond A. That's going to feature the top 6 teams and what I think will be the top 6 in the ISC rankings, with Hill United, the Gremlins, JDT, the Express, the Drillers, and the Batmen all together.
It's a little bit of a murderer's row there.
That one's lifted sky high, and that's going to come down right on top of us, Adam. We didn't have a chance at it, but landed right on top of us. Oakley Durham, Nick Moore, and Kaylin Robinson. 5, 6, 7 for the Saskatoon Jacks. And that's chop foul.
Looks like a little change of pace there from Norman. Got to see Steve a few times a couple summers ago as he was playing for SDK in their inaugural season. He and Bryn Redhead were kind of their 1-2 punch. And we battled them pretty well. We saw them in the opening game of that SDK tournament and lost a tight 1-2-1. We'd seen him in a... Benny Anthony took him to Lillooet. I'm not sure if you know where Lillooet is.
I do not. You'll have to educate me on that.
It's in the Fraser Canyon. It was a great little tournament. Beautiful little ballpark there. And again, you want to talk about mountains. Those make the mountains in Kamloops look pretty piddly.
Chasing upstairs goes Oakley Durham. That big rise ball, that's always been the big out pitch for Steve Norman, and features it here.
Now batting number 9, Nick Moore.
Nick Moore to the plate, doing the catching for the Jacks tonight. They pulled the old New York Gremlins trick, throw the numbers for the positions into a blender and then just toss them randomly onto the lineup card.
I guess it doesn't really matter. As long as they're out there and they're batting in the right order.
That's really what matters, yeah. There's a little bit of determination, who's the flex and who your DP is, but beyond that, swing and a miss here by Moore. Can't catch up to that rise ball. chases the pitch off the outside corner. Down on strikes for the second time tonight is Nick Moore. Will go to Kalen Robinson. Robinson smoked that double and then came around to score on the home run by Brant White. Those were back-to-back pitches, too, back in the second inning. That was off Scott Life. Steve Norman on here in relief now. And again, with the rise ball, Robinson can't catch up to that one.
It's always interesting to see what kind of bats come out of the bag. Looks like we got a Mike and Freak here. I'm a bit of a gear guy. I like to see all those variations of the Easton synergies that you get.
This one is punched through the 3.5 hole. So Kalen Robinson 2 for 2 on the evening and aboard with a 2-out single, and that'll bring the man of the hour for the Saskatoon Jacks, Brant Wiebe, to the plate. First pitch took it over the center field wall. He's responsible for the 2 runs.
Let's see if Norman kind of clocked that that back-to-back pitch sequence that Wiebe hit the home run on. We'll see what he comes with first pitch here.
Outside drop ball from Norman and just off the outside corner.
You could tell Avery was hoping that one was going to go his way. That was a hard drop.
Yeah, velocity has always been there for Steve. This one is upstairs on the move, late with the throw, but it bounces and up to third. Kalen Robinson. I think if that throw is handled cleanly out there by Wiebe or Major, I'm not sure who was coming across. To be honest, I got blocked out a little bit, but I think they were going to have him.
Yeah, I think the throw beat him, but just a tough hop, kind of an in-between distance, and middle infielder couldn't handle it. So with 2 out, we got a little runner on third action.
Inside corner for a strike. 2-1 to Brant Wiebe.
Just nicking that outside corner.
This one is up and in. Wonderful lights here at King Stadium in downtown Kelowna. The surrounding mountains and in the distance, everything is full dark. Strike to the outside corner. So we'll run it to full with 2 down here in the 4th. Saskatoon trying to get back out in front. And swing and a miss. Good drop ball downstairs, the outside corner. Steve Norman comes on in relief, picks out 3 strikeouts. The Jacks strand 1. We'll go to the home half. Tied at 2. Good one here in the nightcap.
So Corey Jones ended the last inning at bat with the leadoff call, so he's going to start us off here of the fourth. Former Grand Prairie Pirate as well.
Yeah, there are a couple of Grand Prairie Pirates scattered around here. Almost got the mascot with that one. What a run the Pirates had, too, over the years. It's a shame that they were unable to continue here into 2026, but a great run by that organization, and some memorable games at the Canadians over the years at the ISC. Seem to annually get into a matchup with the Toronto Batmen, and that would go back and forth.
Yeah, I think of that lineup too. You have the Arcan brothers, you got Scott Knee-High, Jones.
Speaking of Jones, flies this one out into the gap, and then coming across to make the grab, that's Ryan Bicknell, who tracks that down in that right center gap. He went a long way, Adam, to go get this.
He did go a long way. Just thinking how nice it must be to be able to run like that, because that could have been a center fielder's ball the way that was hit, but Bicknell does a nice job of tracking it into the gap. Jones just missing that one.
So Kyle Cowick. Hard swing and fouls that straight back. Beyond the Loggers, Kyle's done some time with the JB squad over the years. And he laces this one out to right, and again, coming across is Ryan Bicknell to cut that one off. Now, he was shaded towards center field, but was still had to move over there quickly to cut that off.
That first swing, he was a little bit late on it, and I was wondering if he was sitting on that off speed. And lo and behold, we see it, and he just kind of slashes that one out into right. And the Loggers have something going here with one away.
Yeah, good bit of hitting by Kyle Cowick. And that'll bring us to Ben Edgington. Grounded out to short back in the second inning. And a good pitch there from Devin McCullough to get him to chase outside the zone.
Yeah, there's nothing. I mean, as a pitcher, that outside dipper, if you can get a guy to offer at that, then you have a lot of options coming back. Especially 0-2 here. McCullough with the good rise or the change.
Yeah, back to the drop on the outside corner. And there's the big rise ball, and Edgington can't hold back. Haven't seen a lot of the changeup, Adam. I mean, he's dialed in a couple of them really nicely, but hasn't really used it extensively here.
Hasn't really needed to. And again, that's a nice weapon to keep in your back pocket until you do need it. If guys get used to the rise, the velocity of the rise and the drop, that off-speed pitch is always handy to go to. And like you said, he's willing to double it up, and that's when it can be really devastating.
Walushka chases after strike one. And there's the changeup. That one up in the zone.
But again, 20 miles an hour slower than that dipper.
Yeah, it really makes a difference. It can be a backbreaker. Called strike three down on the corner. A great pitching display here from Devin McCullough this inning to shut down the Sooke Loggers. Bottom of the fourth. Picks up another couple of strikeouts.
Yeah, not a lot of argument there from Walushka, as he knew That one caught the corner off to the dugout, and we're going to go to the top half of the fifth here, still tied at 2.
Top of the fifth. Boy, we're motoring along here, Adam. Although I probably just jinxed us, but Will Major, then Max Major, and Ryan Bicknell. 3 good young ball players to face Steve Norman here for the Saskatoon Jacks as they try to retake the lead.
I was talking with my friend Scott Austin, who has pitched pretty well, played a lot of ISA. Oh, that's speed.
Yeah, that's speed, but that ball is bobbled out there by Ian Creemore. And it was a changeup from Steve Norman, and Major went with it, and it was just a little soft, lazy liner. And then it one-hopped Creemore and was in and out of his glove pretty quickly. And by the time he went and got it, Will Major was well past first.
Yeah, it looks like it was spinning pretty well out there. Just a tough read on that for Creemore at second base. But that leads to a base runner here. We were saying that, a lot of places, Hockey Canada is centered in Calgary. You've got Rugby Canada in Langford. If there was a place for Softball Canada to have a headquarters, Saskatoon would probably be it, unless you're thinking Newfoundland on the other coast.
Well, you would have thought Newfoundland for the previous 10 years as Max Major squares, drops down a real nice bunt, and Corey Jones over to Creemore covering, and they get Max Major. And Will Major, the minor major, is up to second. I was waiting to say that all night. Sorry, Will.
Jones right there, but Major runs so well. He made that a real close play. Nice job, sure-handed by Jones to pick that and make the throw. And a little discussion now between Avery and Norman. Again with the runner on second. I'd say probably just trying to get on the same page with signals at this point. That runner on second, opportunity to maybe pick a sign, relay that to the batter.
Yeah, Max is going to be peering over the shoulder of Steve Norman, just looking to see what Brian Avery is putting down. Ryan Bicknell hit the ball hard in the third, but then called out on the leadoff on the steal attempt. Grounded out to Jones back in the first. Showed bunt there and got everybody moving.
I guess at this point in the game, he might be playing for 1 run. Trying to get a lead here. Sooke, obviously the home team, will have the last bat.
Oh, popped up way up in the air. That's an easy grab for Leyland over at third. And Bicknell not be happy with that bunt attempt. And yeah, absolutely there, Adam. Looking just to scratch across that one and maybe hope that Devin McCullough can keep the door closed. The way we started with all those runs in the first couple innings, I thought this was going to be a 9-7 snowball fight, but it settled in pretty quickly. Matthew Kutnikoff at the plate. Off the corner. Geared up for that one, but came up empty on the swing.
Yeah, looks like he just pulled off that drop ball a little bit, swung over top.
And that one hits him in the box, so it's a dead ball at the plate.
I think that was an off-speed pitch from Norman, coming in at just 60.8, so pretty good discrepancy between those two pitches, the drop ball and then the change-up from him.
1-2 on Kutnikoff, looking to get this go-ahead run around. Fouls that one straight back to the screen. It was a good 1-2, as you said earlier, Adam, between Life and Steve Norman.
Yeah, it's been an effective combo here holding the Jacks. They haven't had a ton of traffic on those base paths. And when they have, the pitchers have managed to make good pitches to get out of those jams.
Chopper down to Leland, bobbled, and can't get the handle. Just never got a hand on it, trying to get the ball out of the glove.
Yeah, it looks like it was just spinning there, and it just kept spinning as he tried to make that transfer in the throw. Major doesn't advance on that, so now we got runners on first and second.
Yeah, it was interesting with 2 outs. He was not moving there. He probably should be on third right now, but I mean that plays in front of him. But unless you're going to run into the tag, which I don't think you were going to do in any event.
Yeah, I think Leland was thinking 1 all the way. Didn't even have Major in mind, but.
So Kozminka, who's been down twice on strikes tonight, opportunity here presents itself for the Jacks. And this one well hit to left, way back and gone. Troy Kozminka with a big 3-run home run, and the Jacks here in bonus time in the 5th get to play with the extra out, and Troy Kozminka makes them pay.
That's the one that always hurts the most. You know, it's an error, it's a walk, something like that happens, and then the next guy comes up and knocks one out of the park, and all of a sudden it's a 5-3 ball game, or 5-2 ball game, sorry.
Well, with 2 errors in the inning, Will Major reaches on an error with nobody out, and then Kutnikoff should have been out of the inning, and Kozminka, a big fly, and all the runs here for the Jacks tonight by way of the home run.
Yeah, that big fly coming into play. Looks like Sooke's got a little bit of work to do here in their half. They still got to get out of this half of the inning, though. So we got the number 5 hitter.
Oakley Durham.
Oakley Durham, who's listed as the catcher, but we know he's not back there.
Swing and a miss here. Steve Norman gets them out of the inning, but not before the damage is done. A pair of errors and then a big 2-out, 3-run home run by Troy Kozminka has the Jacks out in front. We'll go to the home half of the fifth. As you said, Adam Donnelly, Sooke Loggers now with some work to do. So a new pitcher for the Saskatoon Jacks as Devin McCullough works 4 innings, picks up 6 strikeouts, and he'll exit with his team taking a 5-2 lead. Jordan Hudson will come on in relief and try and close the door on the Sooke Loggers as they'll look to pick up an opening night win here at the Kelowna May Days tournament. Claire Sedford, Adam Donnelly here on Softball Premier TV. Nobody had this one on their bingo card early. Hill United Chiefs, a scoreless tie. 7-inning tie, and that's the rule here in the round robin at the Kelowna May Days tournament. You're tied after 7, it's game over. And Hill United shut down tonight by Nick Need. The kid done good.
Yeah, the kid from Terrace, BC, probably about 16 hours north of Kelowna, up on the north coast. And really impressive performance. He's got to be sharp after that experience down in Columbia with the U23 national team.
He threw a lot. 33 innings for Canada down in Columbia. Finished up with a 2-4 record. Not a great record, but not totally indicative of the way he pitched. He pitched better than a 2-4 record.
We saw him last year at that Father's Day tournament I mentioned earlier. He threw really well. We had a young, what was his name? A young Mexican pitcher who was living down in Langley, but he was an absolute horse for us through, I think, every game but one. We managed to beat him in the final with, again, Choco and Felipe Munoz, Conrado Zanutini. It was a great tournament and a lot of fun. And it's great to see Nick, how much he's grown over those few years. I saw him at a pitching clinic up in Prince George a few years ago, and he's really grown physically, not to mention, that maturity that comes with pitching at that top level.
100%. And I can remember Nick Need on the U18 team a few years back. And there was always a ton of potential there, but he's really starting to realize that now as he's grown up, filled out, and the velocity is increased. The pitching smarts have increased. Here's another guy who's hard-throwing right-handers, Jordan Hudson, as he come in and has struck out the first 2 batters he's faced, Dean Leyland and now Ian Creemore, both down on strikes.
I think we had a pinch hitter for Leland. It was I saw number 5 Belton there for the Loggers. Didn't get a first name, but he wasn't too happy about that strike 3 call. But I think Hudson really picked his spot down and in with that drop ball. That's one thing you like to see is these young guys coming in, throwing hard, not being afraid to make mistakes, and with that 3-run lead probably gives them a little bit more confidence.
Well, Hudson and Moore would have worked together a couple of years ago with the watered-down Hammer. Hudson moved on, well, stayed back out west, let's put it that way, because he's from Saskatoon.
You want to talk about nice parks? That facility in Saskatoon is absolutely beautiful with those two fields they have there.
Can't wait to go back there with the World Tournament in 2027. Bob Van Impe Stadium, Gordie Howe.
I can just imagine how packed that park is going to be with some of the best ball.
I'm looking forward to it. I still fondly remember our time together in 2015 at that WB. Well, it was then the ISF. They were transitioning to WBSC. This one is lifted up in the air by Newman, ranging over, and it actually falls behind him. Was Oakley Durham. Gets a little dark down in that corner. The lights on the playing field are exceptional, but down in foul territory, it just gets a little dark down there and left.
And the third baseline, that's where the beer garden is in this park. Probably one of the best setups I've seen, and the staff over there does such a great job. Probably don't want too much light in the beer garden either.
What goes in the beer garden stays in the beer garden. Way upstairs to Logan Newman. So a 2-out walk, the leadoff batter, and we know that he's got speed. And that'll bring up Gus Wilson, who last time we saw Gus at the plate was lining one off the right center field fence.
Yeah, for a baseball guy, he doesn't seem uncomfortable up there, that's for sure. .78.4 from Hudson. Bit of a high dipper there.
This one's fouled off down the right side, giving chase, but that hit the tree actually and fell short. It's kind of like my 9-iron on one of the par 3s at the course that I play.
Always a little bit right.
Well, if I pull it, yeah, I'm a lefty, so
Okay.
if I'm pulling it on this particular par 3 that I'm thinking of, it'll hit the tree and fall short into the trap. Right down Broadway for strike 3 from Jordan Hudson. Gets 3 strikeouts on the inning, strands the 2-out walk, and an impressive debut here from Jordan Hudson for 2026. Saskatoon Jacks will take this 5-2 lead. We'll go to the 6th here, down to the final 6 outs.
Direct.
Well, scheduled batter was Nick Moore, but we've got a pinch hitter here, Adam. We'll see if we can tell you who number 23 is in a moment. Just about hit the mascot there again from Steve Norman.
That one was fouled back. Is that Kipfer? Got a 97 on the back of his.
Yeah, I think that is Dallas Kipfer.
Saw him in 2024 at
Nope.
the qualifier.
Justin Laskowski.
Justin Laskowski.
Out to short and sidearm across from Gus Wilson. Yeah, Justin Laskowski, who has done a little bit of time with Team Canada, was with JDT First Energy last season. A couple of years with the Circle Tap Dukes prior to that. But a good Saskatoon boy, and had a fine appearance on Outside the Chute, the terrific podcast out of Nova Scotia with Randy Frame and Chris Hopewell. I know Randy was watching back in the first game.
That is a fantastic podcast. I tried listening at work. There's a couple too many F-bombs to have it playing in the sports store that I work at.
I can understand that, yeah.
But, in the summertime, we're hockey focused, so we don't get as many customers, so I like to have that running a little bit.
I usually listen to that first thing Monday morning on the drive into the office and catch the second half on the drive home.
I mean, if we're talking podcasts and just the technology, growing up in a small town in BC, obsessed with fast pitch, you couldn't find content. But thanks to the internet, streaming technology, podcasts, guys like Luciano here, amazing to be able to watch this tournament from anywhere in the world, anywhere in Canada. He does such a great job bringing softball to the viewers.
Sits down Kalen Robinson pretty quickly here in the sixth for the second out, and that'll be Brant Wiebe. Brant, that big two-run home run that gave the Jacks the lead back in the second inning.
As we're getting late here, we're in the top of the sixth. That 3-run lead for the Jacks.
Change up, pulled foul.
Couple more cracks at it coming up for the Loggers. Be interesting to see if they can get onto Hudson here late.
Well, 3-4-5, Avery Jones Cowick, if you're a Loggers fan and you're looking ahead to the bottom of the inning.
That's good restraint there from Wiebe, as that was a good changeup in the dirt. He managed to hold back.
Came in with the rise ball, and that one fouled straight back by Wiebe. And it just misses off the outside corner, so make the count 2-2. Wiebe trying to get something going here for the Jacks. Steve Norman looks like he's struggling a little bit with his landing zone there, Adam. He keeps looking down after he releases the ball. But I don't see him doing any landscaping out there. Normally it's the first thing a lot of guys do as they start moving the dirt around, but didn't seem to bother him that pitch as he strikes out. Brant Wiebe looking, picks up his sixth strikeout of the game as he come on in relief in the fourth. We'll go to the home half. The Sooke Loggers, 3-4-5 coming up, trailing by 3. Brian Avery will lead things off against Jordan Hudson. And honestly, if you're a Jacks fan, this is probably where you'd rather face Brian Avery with nobody aboard.
Yeah, worst case scenario there, it's still a 2-run game.
Well, he singles hard through the 3.5 hole first pitch, and he's 2 for 3 on the night. You would expect nothing less from Brian Avery, professional hitter.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just thinking. Guy that can go up and pretty much do it all. Gets the Loggers off to a real good start here. And another guy who is dangerous up there in Corey Jones coming up.
Goes after the first pitch and fouls it back. Corey Jones, no batting gloves. Just grip it and rip it.
That's old-time ball right there.
I'm sure there's a few others too, but he and Quentin Bruce are about the only guys that immediately come to mind with the no batting gloves. That one just misses off the corner.
I was going to say a bit of a throwback because he doesn't have padding, but he does have that front elbow guard there just to protect that arm that's hanging out over the plate a little bit. Doesn't feel good to take one in that elbow. Good pitch there. Must have been up.
Yeah, just I just saw the home plate umpire just motion that it was just up a bit. And again, fouled off the fence. Jones getting a little bit closer to it.
And again, like you alluded to earlier, early in the season, so, you know, Jones working on that timing at this time of year. Probably hasn't seen a lot of live pitching yet.
Well, he's wearing out Jordan Hudson here, and he's wearing out the screen behind us, too.
Just got a message from my shortstop back in Kamloops, Shane Mainprize. Give him a quick shout out as Jones goes down swinging.
Yeah, chased one up and out of the zone there. That's a good sequence from Jordan Hudson to hang in, wear out Corey Jones a little bit, and then get him to chase one up and away.
Yeah, that one moved quite a bit, too. Great pitch from Hudson.
Kyle Cowick, 1 for 2 on the night.
I don't think he was thrilled with that strike call, as I think he might have thought that one was down. Ooh.
Hard, right back up the middle. And Hudson actually got a glove on it to slow it down. But boy, did he hit that hard. He hammered it right into the ground.
Yeah, that thing was spinning pretty hard. As you can see it go off the glove. You can see Cowick, too, holding his hand. Not warm out here in Kelowna. That one probably didn't feel great. And a bit of a collision out there between the two middle infielders. As they, I think that was the shortstop.
Yeah, Weeb and Major, they both went after that.
Yeah, Weeb got to it. Major probably could have. Both seem okay. Neither worth for wear.
Ben Edgington at the plate with a pair of runners aboard and just the one down here so far in the bottom of the 6th. Sooke chasing 3. A bit of an awkward swing there by Ben Edgington. Couldn't get the arms out. Line shot, Weeb, a step, maybe a step and a half to his right, and he intercepts that. Edgington will go run for Avery out at second base as he'll go get dressed for the next half inning.
A little bit of a, I don't think Edgington got all of that one. Kind of a, Weeb almost overstepped that one, but made a nice play to stick out the glove and snag that soft liner.
Chases the rise ball. That's a new batter, too. That is that Andrew Kutnikoff here? Or am I? No, that's the wrong side.
Nick Fry. He's geared up here. Looks like he's ready to hit. Finds himself in an 0-2 hole.
So both squads have gone to the bench a little bit. Couldn't get him to chase the rise ball there. That one popped up and out of the zone.
That's a tough pitch to lay off, 0-2. You can see it real well, but you're probably not going to make great contact on it. It's a good job by Fry to hold off.
Well, gets him with the inside drop ball. Good sequence there from Jordan Hudson. Works into and out of trouble here in the bottom of the 6th inning. We'll go to the top of the 7th. Saskatoon Jacks try and build on this 5-2 lead that they currently enjoy. Stay with us here as we wrap up night 1 of the Kelowna May Days tournament. Well, we've made it all the way to the 7th inning here, and it's Will Major leading things off again as he did in the 5th. He reached on an error. A couple of outs later, Matthew Kutnikoff reached on an error, and then Troy Kozminka powered one over the left field fence. And this one is slashed down the right side, but that's going to go foul down in the corner. But those 3 runs are the difference right now, Adam, and they're all unearned.
Yeah, those 2 errors really, I mean, that's so hard as a pitcher to probably, you should have been out of that inning. And then next thing you know, you make one mistake and it's a 3-run ball game. And we're getting down to the nitty gritty here. Just 3 outs left for the Loggers, but they got to get through this Jacks lineup first.
Yeah, and like I said, this was where some of the damage was done the last time around. In for strike 2 to Will Major. Just misses inside.
That one looked pretty good on the monitor. Must have just snuck off the plate in.
Adam, you talked about Newfoundland being the factory for a long time for Team Canada. It seems that pendulum is shifting a little bit because there's some really good young players coming out of the Saskatoon area. Will Major, Max Major, who's on deck, yeah, he's over there. Yeah, that one misses inside, ball 4. So a leadoff walk to Will Major, and he's on for the second time tonight. Max put down a really good bunt back in the 5th to help set up those 2 runs.
Here's another guy. No pads, no gloves. Just grabs the bat and goes up there, digs in.
And he has got just about the most unique stance going in the game right now. He flares this one down the left side, and that's actually going to fall right up against the fence. And fellas, you might want to move that bucket out of the way.
Oh, but that's the best seat in the house.
It's
right
the
there.
best seat in the house, but kind of in the way. And if you're going to sit on it, at least drag it into the dugout when you move. Each team has got about 12 guys outside the door of the dugout. Saskatoon's got 5 or 6 guys lined up along the fence on their side. Sooke's got at least half a dozen over on the third base side. I guess nobody likes sitting in the dugout anymore. Not the cool place to be, apparently. But I was saying, Adam, look at the stance here for Max Major. Like, if you put him in a silhouette, you'd still know who it was.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he loads up that back leg and has that kind of front leg kicked out almost straight, like he's kind of doing a lunge to the side. You can see it here. That front leg is just locked. Obviously works for him, though. Maybe not in that case. That was a great pitch by Norman, that high rise ball.
So Ryan Bicknell, first pitch swinging, fouls that out of play. 1 for 3, reached on a single in the 3rd, but then was caught leading off. Popped up a bunt attempt in his last attempt, or his last appearance. Slap attempt here. On the move was Will Major. It's the first time a steal attempt hasn't resulted in a leadoff here tonight.
So either the umps missed it or that was legal. Let's go with the latter because these umps are on the ball. We got a great stable of umpires here. I think we have four-man crew every game.
Yeah, we got 4 out there right now.
Bicknell doing a good job, just kind of staying alive, fouling off the stuff that might be close. Just waiting to get that pitch that he can handle and do something with.
Chases downstairs here, and second strikeout of the inning, 8th of the night for Steve Norman on a relief here for Sooke Loggers. Scott Life worked the first 3. Steve came on in the 4th. This one punched down the left side, but that's going to go way foul and out of play.
Konikoff would have scored that 4th run for the Jacks. He was on base after reaching on an error for that home run.
Well, that was inside and by everybody, and Will Major up to second uncontested. I don't know whether Norman got crossed up with Avery or vice versa, but one was going one way and the pitch went the other.
See Norman struggle a little bit. I want to say struggle even, but when he's missed, he's kind of missed on that, I guess, right side of the plate. Again, good job of the batter getting out of the way of that one. Now I got a runner in scoring position here with 2 out.
Yeah, the inside pitch to lefties hasn't been a great spot for Steve tonight, but the outside to lefties, he's been quite consistent. Punched out to left, and then bobbled out there and left as well by Edgington, and scoring easily. He was going to score no matter what, was Will Major. And they manufacture one here in the top of the 7th, and that's going to be a real big run. A good AB by Matthew Kutnikoff to foul off a couple and dodge out of the way, and then punch one opposite field.
Yeah, just a real nice piece of hitting to just lay the bat on it and put it out there. And like you said, I don't think there's a play at home there, even if that's handled cleanly. And either way, runner stays at first. So
yeah, I think we're getting a pinch runner. Is that number 10 or 16? What was that?
Did you catch 16. It?
16. So Ryan Bicknell is back out to run for Kutnikoff. On the move and out by 1.5 miles is Bicknell. So that really didn't matter how they got him in a run in that spot. But nonetheless, we will go to the home half. Now, a 4-run deficit for Sooke, and that's going to be a big task.
Last chance for romance. Coming up. So did we figure out how Bicknell came in to run?
Yeah, that's a great question. How did Ryan Bicknell run there for Matthew Kutnikoff? The only thing I can think of is that they somehow managed to move him to catch for a couple of seconds and then have gone back to 10 on the card because Max Major is now catching. Seems to be the extent of the changes right now. I'm trying to see where Nick Moore might have gone, but I don't. Kutnikoff, who was the DP, is now at first, and Kozminka is over at third. And that one is just foul down the right side as Dean Leyland back in hitting for himself in the lineup after being pinch hit for in the 5th.
Yeah, Sooke's just in a position now where they need base runners here to try and chip away at that 4-run lead.
Yeah, you got to get to string some together here. Tried to overthrow that one a bit. Jordan Hudson to the screen. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Dean Leyland. So Dean Leyland, Ian Creemore, who appears to be on deck, but nope, that is another Walushka. We didn't get a full lineup card for Sooke, but boy, that one upstairs. And Jordan Hudson is going to check on Dean Leyland to make sure he's okay.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's the second one tonight where we've seen the helmet protect somebody.
Ooh, yeah, that's scary, but Leland looks no worse for wear. Is, like you said, that protective headgear doing its job?
So pinch hitter Walushka here, not Chris.
Darcy Walushka.
Darcy Walushka, thank you. So quickly 0-2 on Darcy. And that one just misses upstairs. But he's just got to do something here, Adam, just to get himself aboard. Chopper on the infield, the flip to 2 for 1. Back to first, and it's in the dirt. They erase that lead runner.
He managed to get to first, but at the expense of that lead runner, which is, you know, I think Saskatoon will take outs as they come here.
Oh, 100%. They're just looking for outs any which way. 2 to go for Saskatoon. A long way to go for Sooke, but they've got the leadoff man back at the plate, Logan Newman. 1 for 2 with a walk, so aboard twice tonight. Chases after the rise ball outside. A good pitch there from Jordan Hudson. Nothing that Logan Newman can do with that pitch.
Yeah, it was a healthy cut, but he, like you said, couldn't handle it. Not much you can do there.
He skips this one in off the screen and made the throw down to second, but easily down there is Darcy Walushka.
Yeah, even with that favorable bounce, probably not a real great shot at getting him there, but a good throw from Major.
Hard hit right back up the middle, getting the wave, and now getting the stop sign is Walushka. That was a late stop sign from the Sooke coach. He was well down the third base line, was the coach, but Walushka really had to throw the parachute out to get himself stopped.
I glanced out to see. I thought he was coming to see if that throw was going to come home, but yeah, that must have been a real late stop sign for Walushka. And now we got runners at the corners here.
Upstairs from Hudson, Gus Wilson, 2 for 3, singled and doubled, down on strikes in the 5th. This one misses downstairs. So a little bit of trouble here for Jordan Hudson to work through, and here comes the skipper from Saskatoon.
I mean, it's not quite time to hit the panic button yet. You still have an out. You got to force at second and at first, and that run at third doesn't really matter.
No, that run at third, and even for that matter, the run at first really doesn't mean a lot. Kutnikoff is headed over to first base dugout too. And there's a lot of commotion going on the Saskatoon side. We've got a coach coming down to intercept the home plate umpire coming off the field. And I wonder if something happened with Max Major, because he's headed off the field. You see him there exiting stage right. And I wonder if something happened with Max, because
Yeah, you can see in that shot another catcher getting ready. I couldn't see who it was.
well, Moore could come back into the game, I believe. So Nick Moore is coming back in. And Laskowski had stayed in the game for Nick Moore when he pinch hit back in the 6th. So some more defensive changes coming up, and we'll have to inquire as to what happened with Max Major after the game. We hope he's okay.
Yeah, you hate to see anybody get hurt, especially in the first game of a tournament, and especially a guy who, you know, leads off. Got to be an important player here for the Saskatoon Jacks team. So hopefully he's okay, maybe a little ice and a good night's sleep.
So Moore will get a warm-up pitch or two. Just one, since I heard our home plate umpire say, no, you only get one.
We have a new catcher coming in for Saskatoon Jacks. That's number 9, Nick Moore.
And he comes in with a 2-0 count here to Wilson.
Goes with the drop ball and gets Wilson to swing over the top. And we'll make it 3-1 as Hudson can't find the zone with that one. Just missed. A real good at bat there by Gus Wilson to work the walk, and will load the bases for Brian Avery. The plot thickens.
Does it ever? Yeah, not the guy you want to see coming up with the bases loaded here.
We've already had one tie game tonight. Could we get another?
Big spot here for Hudson, facing one of the best hitters in this Sooke lineup. And like you mentioned earlier, a guy who's seen it all and done a lot in this game.
2 for 3 on the night. A couple of hard hit singles. But certainly the most experienced batter in the lineup for Sooke, and hammered right back up the middle. Scores 1 for sure and 2 standing up as Newman easily comes around as well. And Sooke draw just that little bit closer. 3 RBIs on the night for Brian Avery.
Now batting number 10, Corey Jones.
But now you've got the game-winning run at the plate and a guy who can hit the ball out of the park.
Yeah, you don't want to make a mistake to Jones here. Again, you could look at it like maybe Corey's due, going 0 for 3 so far.
on the ground to 2 for 1. Back to 1 for 2. Sooke Jacks hang on for a 6-4 win. Just getting Corey Jones on the back end of that 6-4-3 double play. A nice way to end it for the Saskatoon Jacks, but hang on indeed for the win over the Sooke Loggers. A good one here in the nightcap on Kelowna May Days Day 1. We get a 0-0 tie with the Hill United Chiefs, and Saskatoon Jacks eke out a 6-4 win over the Sooke Loggers.
We've got so much ball tomorrow.
It's going to be a great one.
I can't wait.
We're here all day on Softball Premier TV. Blair Setford, Adam Donnelly. We'll see you on the flip side. Thanks for being with us tonight. Have a good one, and we'll catch you tomorrow.
Good night.